welcome to Naughty or Nice with Miss Cassie. Tonight, my really awesome guest is Mark Hankins Jr. from the San Francisco area, and he is the founder and is it CEO or
Executive Director.
Executive Director of WAGZ Pack Service Pups?
Perfect.
All right. Yeah, I was really amazed when I started reading about it. I wasn't quite sure at first what the organization was about. And then when I found out that it was people that actually do like puppy play and, you know, they're into the kink scene in San Francisco, and that you're giving back to the community. That's awesome, Mark. How did
Thank
this
you.
start?
It started out as an idea of just a group of pups that would get together and just volunteer our time for the community. And the idea grew into the nonprofit that it has become today, where it's open to any kinkster, anybody that's in the leather kink community, who loves to give back to the community, loves to volunteer their time. We also fundraise and then give back to other nonprofits at the end of the year.
That's really awesome. Now, these nonprofits that you're giving back to, are those strictly kink related, or is that the community at large for the betterment of San Francisco?
Our focus is the kink and leather community. We also focus on animal adoption and rescue. Is another focus that we have, and we want to make sure that the animal rescue has a non-lethal policy attached to that.
Oh, I like
or
that.
or non-euthanization. I'm sorry, non-euthanization policy.
No, I totally understand that. I was very active in animal rights back in the 90s when I lived in San Diego. And,
That's awesome.
you know, we were very concerned about like the different animal shelters, and like the Friends of Cats Society does not euthanize the cats. They care for them, you know, and until they, you know, pass on from whatever they're supposed to pass on from. And you know, and it was amazed, you know, at different people's policy and things that people weren't aware of. I mean, of all things, I followed Ferrets Anonymous for the longest time. They've been trying to legalize ferrets in California, but unfortunately, our legislation in California keeps bumping their poor thing, their bill back. You
Oh
know,
no.
the other things. And of all the states in the United States, there's only they are legal as pets in 48 states except for California and Hawaii.
Wow, that surprises me.
Yeah, yeah, it's really crazy, and they really are wonderful little pets. And a lot of these, you know, horror stories that you hear, you know, are basically, you know, from owners that neglected their pets and something bad happened.
Right,
You know?
exactly.
So it's like, yeah, all animals need support.
Absolutely.
You know? Yeah, I know you probably weren't expecting to talk about ferrets tonight, but it's like I totally get this.
Yeah, I love ferrets. That would be a really fun pet to have.
Oh, wouldn't it though? I remember one time my building got evacuated in San Diego, and we all had to run out to I forget what the thing happened, but the elevator stopped, and we all had to run down. There was alarms, and so everybody had their pets with it, and one of my neighbors had a ferret.
Oh
Oh my
wow.
God, he was so cute. He was so funny the way he was running around on her shoulders. And
Aww.
he was actually trained. You know, he'd hop into the bush and then hop back up on her shoulder. And it was just the cutest. And he's one of those ones with the bandit marks. Oh my
Oh
God.
wow. That's
So
adorable.
cute.
That is adorable.
Oh, so I like that. So your outreach isn't just to help people with kink. It's also you're helping local animal shelters and outreach and basically supporting animal rights.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I love that. So you got your nonprofit. Was that in November that happened?
We started the process in November. By December 2nd is when the IRS gave us the 501(c) status as a nonprofit.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Yeah, I
Thank
know
you.
that you had sent one of your announcements out that ended up in one of my discussion groups, and that's how we ended up hooking up.
Right.
And, I get a lot of people that, will try to post stuff in my groups, and a lot of times it is inappropriate. But I really like the message that you had, and that's why I contacted you. Because I think that a lot of people in the kink community across the U.S., their own little communities like that people should be giving back. Like here in L.A., I mean, I truly admire Mr. Cyan, who has been giving back to the community for years and has received countless awards for her efforts in feeding the hungry and giving back to the food banks around Thanksgiving and Christmas. Every year she does her slave auction.
That's
It's
awesome.
amazing the amount of food and things that they raise to give back to the community at large. And it isn't just the people of kink. I mean, it's the local food banks that are, so need this, especially since the recession hit in 2008 and people
Oh yeah.
are trying to feed their families. And, every year she manages just to bring so much in. And I have to tell you, it is so needed. If
That's
everybody
wonderful.
would just take their time and give a little bit back in their community, it would make all the difference in the world.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's what
So,
we uh-huh.
yeah, please go ahead.
Oh, that's what that's what we do is we be of service wherever we can be of service. If there's we've been hit up by a few nonprofits or a few kinkster organizations where they've pretty much needed an extra set of hands to make their fundraiser function, and we've been able to help them out and be that extra set of hands for them in order to do so. And so that is a portion of what we do.
That's absolutely awesome because I don't know. Well, you're familiar with putting on events, but I don't know how familiar our audience with what it takes to put on an event of any kind. I put on play parties. I teach classes. I know everything that has to go on into the background, and I know the bigger the event, the more volunteers you need to make the event a success. There are always
Absolutely.
more hands needed, and I think what you're doing is absolutely awesome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Is there any questions that have been coming up in the chat room yet? No? Or, I know that we had a few people that had popped in ahead of time.
Oh, we have quite a few people in the chat room. We have Darren is in the chat room. Jeff is in the chat room. Ranger Pup is in the chat room. Cycling
Hi, Ranger.
Pup is in the chat room. And Darren said, I'm for banning them because there's a lot of dummies out there who aren't responsible, and we'll let them get out and will compete with the native wildlife and causes lots of problems. And also lots of people will not take care of them and treat them healthfully like they do with a lot of dogs and cats are treated. I think he's talking about
that's an old husband's tale.
Yeah.
That is bullshit. If you know anything about domestic ferrets, they are not wild ferrets. They are not equipped to deal in the wild animal out there in the wilderness. Matter of fact, they will probably die within the first 48 hours. They are pets.
That's good to know.
That is good to know.
It's like educate yourself about your animals. Every single animal I have ever owned, I have taken the time to thoroughly know my animals. I have raised dogs. I have raised cats. I have raised iguanas. I have raised African tortoises.
Wow.
I have had hamsters. Every single animal I've ever known, I have taken the time to thoroughly educate myself, get a specialty veterinarian for them, and know what I'm dealing with. And I think any responsible pet owner should do the same thing. But
Absolutely.
You know what? That whole idea about ferrets running off, and that's the argument that Wildlife and Game the Department of Wild Game would do. But you know what? That argument has not won in 48 states. It's only 2 states in all of the United States that they are not legal in, and that is California and Hawaii. And the reason they are not legal in California is for political reasons. The reason they are not legal in Hawaii is because that is a secluded area, a specialized island where they had problems in the past where species were introduced that kills the indigenous species. In their case, they need to be secluded. We do not have that problem in California. Sir, educate yourself about ferrets before you make that kind of blanket statement. Sorry, I get a little passionate about these things. But, I'm huge on education.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Art Miller is in the chat room.
Oh, Art Miller.
And,
hi.
And also, Ranger Puck would like to know Ranger pup would like, it goes, bark. I mean,
Bark back.
a couple months. Bark, bark.
Ranger Pups on my committee, on my board. He's a member of my organization.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes, he's the chairman of our fundraising committee.
All right. Were there any other questions in the chat room now? And I'm sorry I got on my soapbox person in the chat room. It's just that is a particular passion of mine. Because if I could stand rodents, I would own one.
There's no more questions, but there are people that are watching the show that have not come into the chat room. Please go to TSR Network and join us in the chat room. We have a player there, so you can also watch the show and chat at the same time.
All right, Mark. So,
yes.
What, you said, what really inspired you to start this group? Were you just volunteering for things, or a group of you found yourselves wanting to give back? Or, I mean, it takes a lot of effort to go through the process of actually applying for the nonprofit and making this real.
It did take a huge effort. It started out as, I mean, I've been doing philanthropy for over a decade. I belong to the Lions organization. I've been on their board. I've volunteered for the San Francisco AIDS Foundation. I've volunteered for the SPCA. I mean, you name it. Within localities I've volunteered my time for. And I was trying to find. I've always been on this search for an organization that just kind of covers everything that I like, so that I'm not having my time in 20 different directions. If I could do it all at once, it'd be awesome. So I was always in that search of the one place where I can cover, all these different things. So that's one part. And the other part is I wanted an organization where us as kinksters don't necessarily have to wear a second hat. We can be ourselves. We can be out in the community, and we could be out volunteering and do what we like to do. And we don't have to have the suit and tie. And we could be open about who we are and be comfortable with who we are, and don't have to pretend to be something we're not in order to be a member of the community, a productive member of the community.
Oh, absolutely. When you are allowed to authentically be yourself, it truly makes a difference. When we get to a day when we nobody has to have a secret in a closet, it will truly be a great day when we truly embrace each other and love each other that much, that we accept everybody for who they are.
Absolutely.
And to have an opportunity to just go out there and be yourself and not worry about people judging you because, you want to, wear a collar, or
right.
Maybe you like to wear ears, or, so you like a tail attached to your jeans. Lots of people do. It's a big deal.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We love it.
I mean, I tended bar one night with a foxtail hanging out of my little British bikini.
There you go. I love that.
My little fox ears, Everybody
Right?
totally thought it was cool.
Absolutely.
Hey, yeah. Why not?
We have a chat room question.
Oh, great.
There's conversation. Darren wants to go back onto the topic of the ferret, but I think we'll hold on to that for a moment. Art Miller in the chat room says, definitely intrigued with the notion of submissive service. See if you can find a mentor. So I guess he's asking if you can find a mentor. Jeff said, I'm trying to bounce back and forth, but every time I come to the chat, I can't hear the broadcast, so I'm mostly listening. Jeff is on his cell phone, and he is having a hard time listening and being in the chat room. Well, we will mention you periodically, Jeff, where you can hear your name. Jeff.
Oh.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Jeff. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, it is absolutely great to hear that you have a community that wants to give back there. And you said it's not only just pups. It's like, people that are in leather, into rubber, and into all different kinds of kink that just are getting involved.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. It's not just pups. It's kinksters across the board, and leather lifestyle across the board.
Now, are you related to any one particular venue? Like, I know there's several popular dungeons up there in San Francisco that are quite famous. Are you kind of just known all the way around the community up there? What's your outreach potential?
Well, I mean, there's quite a few dungeons out here, yes. And I have a party coming up actually for Mother's Day where we're having a pup dinner auction, and that one will be held at the SF Citadel, San Francisco Citadel. And we have about 10 pups right now that'll be auctioned off for dinner dates.
Nice.
As well as their jock straps will be auctioned off, all for charity. And a few other things that raffle prizes and such that'll be going on, and then of course that'll end in a play party as well, so that you'll be able to have time to hang out with your pups.
Wow.
And we also have some demos. We'll have some demos as well. I forgot to mention.
Oh, that is so cool, because
Yes.
people who haven't really seen what animal play is about really don't get it. I know down here in LA we have LA's Pony and Critters. And they used to, I haven't been to one of their classes in a while, but they used to hold classes at a dungeon where I was teaching. And, they had the pony play and everything. That, of course, was the most popular. But then they would do a part where there was a couple people that were into the puppy play.
Yes.
And they actually had them running courses and stuff, and hoops and tunnels, and
I love it.
had them doing a whole thing. Because she was teaching dressage and, routines to the horses, and so she came up with the same thing, just like you see at the, the dog competitions and stuff.
Right.
And, they had to, show, they had to show certain poses to show that, they have the right stature and stuff, and then they had the actual running competition and stuff, and it was so much fun to watch.
Oh, yeah, I love
Especially when you see somebody that has that spirit.
Yes, absolutely. It's a lot of fun.
Well, it is. It is. We have a lot of kittens down here. We have a lot of girls that are really into the kitten play, and ooh la la, some of them are really luscious. But
yes.
It's just really fun to see, who gravitates towards what. It's like the people that like puppy play are a little bit more bouncy, kind of, jump around, and the people that like kitten play, they want to do a little bit more of the fluffy, rolling the yarn around.
Right, the low key and yeah, definitely. And I have some kittens that are in the organization as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Any ponies or anything as well?
I don't have a specific pony, although I do speak with the pony organization that's here in San Francisco.
Yeah, I do understand there is quite a nice one up there, because I was talking with a young submissive many months ago, and I thought that pony play would be a good interest for her, and I noticed that there was a good group up there.
There's a great group up here, and we're hoping to be able to be marching with them in the Pride Parade this year, San Francisco Pride Parade. But absolutely, I love the pony thing as well. Not that it's a thing that I practice, but I love the practice that they do, that they have.
Oh, that's great. Was there a question, Mel?
Yes, we have a question from guest 126. I want to ask how this organization can help change the traditional views of the elders in the community. This is new, and it's a new generation.
How can it change? Well, I don't want to change anybody, but let me see. Say the question again. How to change the elders of the community?
I want to ask how this organization will help change the traditional views of the elders in the community. This is new, and it's a new generation.
Is he talking about puppy play specifically as being new?
I think he's talking about, how your organization has come together to give back to the community, and how that's going to affect, the elders, because I know one thing that I really found fascinating about the leather elders was their commitment to give back to the community. And when I was back in Chicago for, I forget if it was Kinky College or Shibari Con, but it was amazing the thousands and thousands of dollars all these different organizations had raised for all these different groups around the Midwest that, you know, needed donations, needed help, and it was amazing. So I guess they're saying, you know, is there like a new group of young people on the rise that are kind of taking that old tradition of giving back but making it new?
Absolutely. And my mentor is in the, I guess if you want to call it the elder community or that community. So I have a great mentor who's been by my side through this whole project. And we definitely, it's, I mean, they set the steps for us to move forward with you know, the volunteerism and helping the community.
You know, I love that. I love that because that's the one thing that really, really impressed me about the leather community more than anything. And it's one of the reasons why I well consider running for a leather title again was the fact of their commitment to giving back. One of the things that they ask is, you know, what are you going to do to give back to the community? What difference are you going to make? What is it that you can do to promote outreach? And I feel that is so important.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's very important. So we don't want to change anybody, but they've set, you know, they've set the bar pretty high, and I think we need to keep going with that.
Great. It's like you're picking up the torch for a new generation and you're continuing to run with it, but you're also running with the new ways of things. You know, because face it, you know, things change. There's nothing we can do. Things progress. Things change. It's like,
Right.
you know, what we used to do for outreach 30 years ago does not work for today's crowd.
That's
You
true.
know?
Yeah.
Kids are open to a whole venue of information that, you know, children 30 years ago had no idea about. So the generation that's coming up that's in their, you know, late teens, early 20s, early 30s, their wealth of knowledge is totally different than what it was 30 years ago of that same generation.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Any questions in the chat room now?
Yeah, they're just they're talking. Art Miller said he said, how is the organization perceived within the community? Sounds like there was a before and an after, but it's after improving. And then I made a comment, said, I don't think it's about improving, but a new look on things, which it is. I think so.
Right.
I'm not sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and there are people that are watching the show that have not come into the chat room. Please, if you are watching the show, scoot into the chat room and get some questions. And if you are in the chat room, please start bombarding us with lots and lots of questions. It is you, our audience, that makes this show wonderful.
Absolutely, it does. And I noticed that today you posted an announcement about Daffodil. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about that fundraiser that's going on?
Yeah, absolutely. Daffodils came about. We put a hold on it for a moment because we need to do a little more research on it, and that was thankfully the elders of the community had slowed me down on that and let me know that there are other people I need to reach out to as far as really getting a grasp of how to make this work on the level that it would have to work. But the idea behind it is that there are a lot of situations where there is unconsensual battery in relationships or unconsensual assault between doms and subs or alphas and betas, and there are and being in a relationship like that, a lot of times authorities may or may not handle the situation appropriately, depending on who you're dealing with.
Well, no. And if somebody's in that situation, they may be reluctant to reach out to authorities. I know that I was in a less than desirable DS relationship many, many years ago, and really was stuck between a rock and a hard place as to how to reach out. And there was an organization in New York called Guardian Angel. And they reached out to, you know, submissives and people that were in trouble. And he actually was, it was so nice to have that voice out there, to have somebody to talk to, even though he was on the other side of the country. But at that time, there was no such organization in California that I could talk to. And he was a voice that was well needed, because all the people that I were talking to at the time were giving me misinformation, and I was ending up in more of a pitfall. And
Right.
I have to tell you, I really appreciated that voice of reason.
And what our plan would be is kind of be the big brother that would take you through the steps. What we'd want to do is be able to partnership with either a shelter or a hotel and make sure that that person is taken care of, for a period of time, making sure that they have somebody by their side that they can take them through the steps of the police report, or the all the legal process. If somebody ends up in the hospital, they have somebody by their side. We're trying to figure out what things, when somebody's removed from their home, what do you need? Well, even just basic hygiene, clothes.
Anything like that, just a list of numbers that you may need. I know at one point I was so grateful that the sheriff department was a few blocks from my house, and I went down there, and they hooked me up with the local women's shelter if I needed that. They told me what number I need to call at night if I found myself in a situation, so somebody could come get me. It was an amazing resource. But a lot of people, they don't know who to reach out to, and having access to that, especially somebody they trust. Now, I was brave enough to go to the authorities. Law enforcement does not intimidate me, but then, that's my issue with authority. We won't go into my issue.
Right.
But there are many people that would not feel comfortable, say, talking to the sheriff, or police officer, or fireman, or even their doctor. But, somebody who's a peer in their own community. I find that, because we have so many new people in the community now, and I see them attending a lot of the classes and stuff. And, they do appreciate that mentorship and being able to find people, they're on a common ground with them. And, they're not worried about being outed or judged.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, don't let me get carried away on my soapbox.
It's okay.
I can't help it. I get very passionate about things.
But we are working on daffodils in the background, and that project we're going to continue with. But we have a little more research we need to do on our end, and a few more people we need to reach out to realistically be able to handle these type of situations. And then there's some training that this would be the rescue pups to our service pups part of the organization, and that'll be a little bit later on down the line as soon as we have all the information that we need. But we are we're working on that in the background.
Excellent. Well, people are going to be very interested in what you're doing. What's your contact information? How do people get in touch with you?
Absolutely. Our website is www.wagzpack.org, so it's wagzpack.org. You can also email me at wagzpack@gmail.com. I could give my cell phone number too, if that's something that I...
Well, you might. That depends on whether or not you want thousands of people to call you on that number.
Maybe
you might want to give them the 800 number for the organization, though.
Yes, 800-976-WAGZ is our 800 number. 800-976-WAGZ.
Perfect. I think that's a great place for them to get in touch with you, Mark.
Absolutely.
Now, I want to get a little bit more personal with you. This organization that you're doing is absolutely fabulous.
Thank you.
We want to know about you, the Curious Pup.
Okay.
How did you discover BDSM, and what got you into puppy play?
Puppy play, actually, for me, was something that I ran across at Folsom Street Fair. And there's an organization here in San Francisco called the Canine Unit. And they have a setup that they have this little puppy playpen that I probably looked at for 2 years. I kind of stood on the sidelines looking at this and wagging my little tail and getting really excited about it, but didn't get too involved into it and thought this is something that I'd really like to do. It took me a little bit before somebody coaxed me into the puppy pen, and I fell in love instantly with being a pup. And I more or less live as a pup 24/7. um, these days. So the other kind of kinks that I have, I like bondage. I'm into water sports. I'm into, let's see, off the top of my head. I drew a blank there for a second.
Kinky little puppy.
Yes. It's fun, and I love to learn. And I think there's, uniforms is another thing that really gets me going.
Now, do you like to wear service pup uniforms? Or are you actually into like military play or something?
I like them both. Any kind of uniform. Any kind.
We have puppy sweaters and little puppy motorcycle jackets.
Right. Any kind of leather, any kind of all that stuff that gets me going.
Oh, that is too cute. Oh, I can totally understand why you got into that. I mean, I've had a love affair with leather since I was a little girl. I don't know what it is, but I've never been able to go past any kind of leather shop without having to step in and just do the
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, there's something so primal about leather, you know?
Yes.
It smells so luscious. Oh.
We have some people that have come into the chat room.
Oh,
awesome.
Welcome.
Some more. We have Poindexter. Welcome.
Hey, Poindexter.
Hi, Poindexter.
Jackie is in the chat room. I guess she is the WAGZ Pack secretary.
Hi, Jackie.
Oh, welcome, Jackie.
And she has a statement or a question. She goes, Mark, dear, can we talk about the difference between being a puppy 24/7 versus those who aren't 24/7? Thank you for that question.
Absolutely. I think that some people aren't in a position to be puppy 24/7 depending on what you do professionally. I think that there might be times that might be a little inappropriate to allow your kink out. For me, I'm in a position where I'm able to be 24/7 pup. So it's a passion of mine. Did that answer the question?
I believe it does, and I
Okay.
totally get where you're at. As a matter of fact, Poindexter, I expect to see you in rope class on Saturday. Miss Cassie is teaching rope class this Saturday, 12 to 2 at Sanctuary. All you
that's
people
great.
that want to be tied up. Was there another question now?
We have questions and statements in which people are starting to talk in the chat room, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Great.
126 says, I have to take my collar off when I go to work, but when I'm off, the collar goes right back on. And then Jeff has finally figured out how to watch both the show and be in the chat room at the same time.
Oh, great.
Really tried the effort, and thank you. Poindexter says, hey, woof, woof, woof. So Jeff says, I don't want to necessarily bring attention onto myself, but I was a victim myself recently, and thus very supportive in the idea of dandelion. Is that dandelion?
Daffodil.
Daffodil.
Yeah, daffodil.
And I think it would be I can't say that word, paramoral research for people who have suffered in that way. It isn't always easy to go to the authorities or to know who to reach out to, but no one should have to go through it, especially alone. And then Jackie has a follow-up question. She says, yeah, and a follow-up question for that is the difference between 24/7 pup dom and the other forms of 27 kink lifestyle. Is there a difference between just the lifestyle ones or the 24/7? That's a good.
Yeah, actually, I was getting to that with the bondage. We have this in I teach a lot of bondage classes, and I have a rule about photography, because people want to take pictures of their lovely rope. I mean, it's amazing what people come up with.
Absolutely.
But, not everybody can have their face out there. Not everybody has the luxury of being able to be open about what, makes them tick. Right. There are people that have perhaps a government position, and if they get caught, participating in something that is of the BDSM genre or lifestyle, they could lose their job. There are other people that, may be involved in, certain religious things or so forth, and, You know, they're honoring themselves by exploring everything, but there are other people in their lives that are not going to understand that and will cause basically undue harm to them for no really good reason other than not really understanding.
Right.
Was there anything you'd like to contribute to that, Mark?
No, I totally agree. I think there's there's a place and there's a time, and some people have more time than others to be able to be out and open about their kinks and their lifestyles.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And young people especially, I know you get so excited, you've discovered this new lifestyle. Oh, puppy play, yes, this is
Yes.
so much fun. But you know, you're only 20 years old and you don't realize what you do now can impact your life later.
They can.
You know,
Absolutely.
you know, what if there is a lifestyle change you want to make later that this may impact it? I mean, not everybody can be totally out. You know, I was totally out as a lesbian in the mid '90s, and then I met a wonderful woman who I was crazy about, but she was in the military service, and at that time it was no ask, don't tell, or don't ask, don't tell, and I had to go back
Right.
in the closet, and it just about killed me. But we didn't have a choice, you know.
Right.
People do not have the luxury of being who they truly are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm very lucky living in San Francisco that it's a very accepting city to be open.
It is an amazing city. When I was first exploring, you know, living life as a lesbian, and I got a chance to run around in the Castro district up there, I have to tell you, I
Right.
had a blast.
Right?
It was so much fun. But the thing is, I felt so comfortable knowing that there were other people like me. Was there
Yes.
a question in the chat room, Mel?
Yeah, they're chatting up a lot. They're really chatting.
Oh,
So,
great.
Great.
So I've got to go through. I'm going to go through these really quickly, and
Okay.
you guys can, the host and our wonderful guest can figure out what they want to say. Art
Okay.
Miller says, to tag on what Jackie said, how does this play out in substance? Great question.
Oh,
And,
wow.
And then they're talking yes, do 24/7 differently than other types of subs and doms. And then Guess is doing all caps, so Guess is exciting. Guess must be barking. Says, not sirs, not masters, not daddies, but we are puppies. That's what makes us unique. And Jackie goes, yay, lesbians.
Yummy, yummy, yummy. Well, what was that question about subspace? Do you mean as far as puppy play is concerned, or is there different for subspace between people that are lifestyle and people that live this when they can? They can run with it. Well, since you're a person that actually does puppy play, what kind of
Yes.
subspace experience do you have with that? Or are you a dominant pup?
I'm a dominant pup, so I'm an alpha pup, and I have pups of my own that are. So I play a dominant role. I also play a handler role when it comes to the organization. When I'm having to bring together a handful of pups. So I play a dual role, but both a dom position.
Okay, so you're basically an alpha pup. Now, was there ever a time when you were not the alpha pup when you were learning about puppy play?
I think everybody probably starts as a beta pup,
Okay, now when you're a beta pup, is the like, you know, we talk about subspace and not a lot, you know, in this lifestyle. Is that more likely to happen for a beta pup, or is the euphoria, does that happen just from, you know, both parts of the alpha and the beta puppy play?
Well, we get into what we call a pup headspace
Okay.
for us. So I think even as an alpha, if I back up a little bit, even as an alpha, there's still some sub to it, depending on who I'm playing with. So if somebody's playing fetch with me, then I'm playing a sub role. But yeah, definitely a headspace, and it's a puppy headspace as we call it, and it's just a complete place where we're at the time in our minds.
Well, true, because, you know, even when you see a pack of dogs, you know, that somebody has, there's always an alpha dog, and even that alpha dog enjoys a good game of, you know, fetch the stick.
Absolutely.
Or, you know, tug of war with the blue jean thing, or the rope
Absolutely,
toy.
yes.
Is there another question, Mel?
Yes, Art Miller would like Mark to explain what's a
Mhm.
beta pup, because he's new to the lifestyle, so he's getting quite an education.
Yeah, you don't
Okay.
often hear about the beta pup. Tell us more about that.
And for me, the beta pup is the sub to the alpha. My beta pup is my primary pup, so my primary relationship. Being a pup, for me, it may not be for everybody, is pretty poly. So it's you know, you're active with quite a few pups. So my thought behind being a beta pup is just the sub to the dom, if I could use those words as far as beta alpha.
Yeah, that makes sense. But, you know, puppies, as a general rule, you guys kind of like to travel in packs, and
We do,
you
yes.
do. And I have to, you know, the few people that I've experienced with puppy play and kitten play, is they really look forward to those times when you all get together in a group and you basically do a puppy pile or a kitty pile.
Absolutely. Yeah, we love our puppy play. We had a day out at the beach last summer where there was probably, I want to say, a good 10 of us pups that went out there, and we just pupped out on the beach with our little squeaky toys and had a blast out there, and everybody loved
Nice.
it, watching us, and we had a great time playing, and we do like, you know, running and our, having fun in packs and playing with each other.
Interesting. Now, do male and female alpha pups have like different roles? Like, would, for instance, a female alpha pup be more like of a mommy dog, and would like a male, you know, alpha pup be, you know, well, I guess in the wild they're more that loner, trampy type thing. My goodness, I never thought about that. Are you a puppy slut?
I some might say that. No. It's more of a cute, cuddly play. You know, if it turns into sex, it turns into sex.
And I suppose you do it doggy style.
Absolutely.
Are there any more questions in the chat room, Mel?
Guess 126 is growling. Yeah. Yes.
Grr back.
So what kind of pup is he?
Yeah, if he's gurring, what kind of pup is he? Oh, what kind of pup are you, Curious Pup? Are you a particular breed?
I am. I'm a boxer.
You're a boxer?
I'm a boxer. That would be my breed.
Oh, my goodness. Boxers are very strong. Well, I know because I had a rather nasty fall on the 13th of February due to my friend's boxer. Oh my God, that dog got out, knocked me down. I totally face planted in the dirt before I caught this puppy.
Oh
Oh
no.
my God. Total musclehead.
So they're going
Right.
bark, 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 bark in the back. Bark, 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 bark.
That's all I'm gonna say. Ruff, ruff, ruff.
How does one decide on what kind of pup they are?
I think that's what you relate to. I mean, it's your personality. It relates to. It's what you relate to. It's what you relate to. What your personality traits are to the breed of dogs that are out there.
Yeah, because if you read about any breeds of dogs, you know, one thing they always talk about is the temperament of the dogs.
Absolutely.
And there are a lot of dogs that have certain, you know, gifts. You know, it's like, you know, a lot of people think, oh, giant Great Danes, those have to be ferocious. And no, actually, they're very gentle, wonderful dogs.
Right. Absolutely. That's very true.
So your beta pup, your puppy lover,
Yes.
is your puppy lover also a boxer, or are you guys mixing breeds?
He hasn't he hasn't actually figured out his breed yet. He's still working on that, and he's new to the pup the pup community. His name is Boomer. His pup name. His
Aww.
human name is Joe, and sure he's watching, but he's still trying to figure out which breed he is.
So you guys are going to have a bunch of mutts eventually that are going
Absolutely.
to...
Absolutely.
This is cute. They're going to have a whole pack.
Well, they have a lot of questions in the chat room. Right now.
Oh, let's.
Oh.
What are the questions now?
One of the questions from Art Miller. We're going to go down. I'm going to say them all quickly. So
Okay.
one of the questions from Art Miller is, does the alpha also choose the name or choose the breed? And Poindexter goes, Jeff, woof, woof, woof. And Jeff says, it's different for everyone. A breed can be recommended by someone else. Most people seem to choose their own breed. And
Agreed.
Art would like to know, does the same thing exist for kittens? And Ranger Pup would like to know, how did you get your name, Curious Pup?
Well, it was actually it was my screen name when I first got into applications, online hookup applications. Was San Francisco Curious when I first moved into San Francisco and started using the applications, and it was more of an innocence, and I found innocence in it, and so I took it with me with my pup name. So that's kind of where that came from. It was my screen name before I got into becoming a pup.
So you were curious before you became a curious pup.
I was curious before I became a curious pup. Absolutely.
And you continue to be curious, so that's why you've kept it.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, so we have answered a curious pup question. What was the other question before that?
He asked if it was the same thing exist for kittens.
Oh, the kitten thing. Well, I don't know. I know a lot of people that are into kitten play, but I don't know of anybody that's kind of like really into organized kitten play.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit different. I don't think it's as organized.
Yeah, because I do see, like, like at DomCon, you'll see a lot of ladies that, they'll come dressed in their full cat suits and everything, and it's obvious they're into the kitten play, and, they'll hobnob a little bit, and, well, even at the LA Critters thing, it's like I've seen them do the dog play and the horse play, but I haven't actually seen them do something with the kittens. But then again, I haven't been actively involved in Miss Ann's organization in a long time. Do you know anything more about what they do with the kittens here in LA? No?
No, they purr a lot.
Yeah, they do purr.
Right?
They're always trying to play with your things that are hanging down.
They do, and they always want to be petted.
Yeah. Always. Well, and they're pretty catty.
Yeah, they are
Pretty catty, right?
Jeff in the chat room says, Mark,
Yes.
wouldn't
Hi,
you
Jeff.
say that being an alpha doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be a dom as far as sex goes? Oh, yeah. And guess 126 is going bark, 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 bark.
Being a dom doesn't necessarily mean I have to be a top. I can absolutely switch. Doesn't necessarily mean that that's the position. My alpha position is just a position I take in pack as a leadership position. It doesn't necessarily put me. An alpha doesn't necessarily mean that I need to be a top. You don't have to be a top to be an alpha. It's just a leadership position within the pack.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. It's not, like mom's in charge of the family, but it doesn't mean that, she's the dominant.
Right.
Yeah, my mom too.
Art's going in the chat room, meow.
Well, I was having an epiphany about kitten play. Dogs naturally run in packs. Cats don't. They're very aloof. And
Yes.
I noticed that most kittens seem to want to be like an individual pet from somebody. They want to be that special cat. They want to be they want to be like your average cat pet that people have. I mean, I haven't had a cat. I've had some cats that were pretty chummy, but for the most part, they're unique individuals, and they do things the way they want to.
Absolutely.
They're very
Yes,
aloof,
that's my experience as well.
It's like, yeah, they're not so much inclined to do the pat thing like I think dogs do. And I think it may be a personality trait as to why, people that crave that individual attention that need to be petted will probably gravitate more towards kitten play, where the people who thrive more in the community kind of warm body wrestle, let's all this all my this is good
Right.
stuff, man. You know, more community social guys are gonna, you know, go more towards the puppy play. At least that is the thought that is running through my mind at this point.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's been my, not that I'm a, know a lot about cat play, but that's my experience as well, as they're more individual and a little more tame than pups.
Well, yeah, and they do require a little bit more maintenance, I think, in a different way.
Absolutely.
I mean, pups are just kind of fun to play. I mean, you know, you throw things, they go chase it, you know, you can, you know, kind of rough with them a little bit. Kitties
Right.
not so much.
Not so much, yeah. we like rough housing.
That does make all the difference in the world.
Absolutely.
Now, what advice would you tell somebody who wants to start a nonprofit? Oh, that's a good one.
That's a good question. That's a really good question. Well, I would start maybe connecting with other nonprofits and seeing. It depends on well, you need to find what it is that you want to help. What the difference is that you want to make in either your community or in the world. Would be a good start, and then connecting with maybe nonprofits that could help you along the way that may have the same type of mission, and then figuring out your niche, how you can your niche for the problem that you want to fix. So what makes you different from the nonprofits that might be already doing that particular mission. But I would reach out to other nonprofits. Would be a good start in finding out from them how they run, and using them as resources, or finding a mentor, which is where I started out, was finding a mentor that also started nonprofits, run nonprofits. So yeah, finding somebody who knows what they're doing, and asking them to help you along the way.
Yeah, you know, somebody that has experience. If you find an organization that's nonprofit and you admire how their organization is going, it's like people will do courtesy interviews and talk to you. They're fabulous.
Absolutely.
You know, and I used to do a lot of volunteer work in the past, and I know I worked for one organization, and we had two organizations in one. We had a nonprofit organization, and then we had a for-profit organization. And the reason that we had this, and this is one thing to look at for the difference between needing a nonprofit and not needing a nonprofit. As a nonprofit, we were limited in our outreach, and we had rules we had to follow.
Right. It's very strict.
We did a lot of political work, and we often needed to do things that required civil disobedience. We could not do that under the heading of the nonprofit hat. We would have lost our nonprofit status. So we had another sister organization that we would do those certain kind of outreach things for when we had to make a statement that way. But you have to think about, you know, what it is that your organization stands for, and what kind of outreach you need to have as to whether or not it's going to be more effective to be, you know, be able to do what you want, or to be for nonprofit. They both have their particular benefits, and I know as far as like tax write-offs and stuff, there are some major benefits for nonprofit, and allows you to do outreach in a totally different way than something that, you know, will eventually make money.
Right, absolutely.
Question.
Yes.
This question is from, ready? Art Miller.
Art, oh my gosh, Art, you've been great tonight.
Hi, Art.
Art Miller would like to know, what has been the best part of nonprofit? Is there a unique connection made?
What the best part of nonprofit for me has been the connections that I've made, networking, meeting the people that I've met. And philanthropy to me is just, it's a passion for me. It's something that I love to do. It's fun for me. So it's, you know, and connecting with other people with the same kind of hobbies, or, you know, same kind of likes, and the friendships that I've built and the connections that I've built, and working together with other organizations, whether they're for-profit, non-profit, or even just an organization. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun, and I enjoy being able to be a helping hand, just to be able to make a difference, really. is huge for me. You know, I enjoy it.
I totally understand it. If you've got it in your soul to give back and to be able to actually have the opportunity to feed that, to nourish that in you, I mean, that has
Right.
to be so rewarding for you.
It's very rewarding.
Are there any
Absolutely.
more questions, Mel?
Oh God.
Oh my God, she's got the devilish laugh. Watch out!
Uh-oh, here it comes.
Poindexter, you're a blessing.
Oh, what's he up to now?
Seems pretty defined. I'm just a dog sometimes. And
Absolutely.
and guest 126 says, puppy kisses, love tonight, and love its subject.
Aw, puppy
Aw.
kisses.
Okay, well, one more time, Mark. Let's give everybody your contact information, the 800 number, the website, you know, any current projects you want to push. Like I know, tell the world what you want them to know and how to get in contact with you, and especially if they want to volunteer for your organization.
Absolutely, and we're always looking for volunteers because we can always use the help. Our website again is www.wagzpack.org. That's www.wagzpack.org. My email's the best way to get a hold of me, which is wagzpack@gmail.com, wagzpack@gmail.com. But there's also the 800 number, which is 1-800-976-WAGS 9249. So 1-800-976-9249. But email is the best way to get a hold of me, wagzpack@gmail.com.
Absolutely, and I know that I hooked up with you on Facebook.
Facebook as well. Yes, we
Yeah,
do have a
so
Facebook.
is there a way they can hook up with you on Facebook? Because I know a lot of people, that's where they find everything out these days.
Yeah, and I can actually, there's a lot more information on Facebook that I'm able to do on the web page. I try to put as much as I can on the web page, but I'm a little limited. But if you search for WAGZ Pack, or you can even search for Curious Pup and find my personal page, and through that you'll be able to find WAGZ Pack as well. But WAGZ Pack does have its own page, so Facebook, I believe it's /WAGZ Pack. Facebook.com/WAGZPack. But if you do a search for Curious Pup, that's my personal page. And you're certainly welcome to friend me, and I can get you connected with our organization that way as well.
Excellent, excellent.
Yeah.
I know that they can always contact me as well because I have access to your contact information.
You do, absolutely.
Okay, well, we are pretty much at the end of time, Mark. You have been
Okay.
a fabulous, fabulous guest. Is there
Thank
anything
you
else
so
that's
much.
going on, Mel? Any more questions? Anything like that?
Yes, I posted in the chat room to help you this evening to see if they were naughty or nice, to get that all prepared for you.
Oh, goodness. Was there a
so
vote on that?
Yeah, you want to. Yeah, Miss Cassie wants to know if you're naughty, if he was naughty or nice, our guest.
Yes. Do we have a naughty puppy or a nice puppy?
Art Miller says nice. Ranger Pup says naughty. Guest says nice. That's guest 126. Pup Rain barks for Mark.
Barks for Mark.
Yeah, they're barking.
Arf, arf.
Oh, that's fabulous. Oh, my goodness. Any announcements for TSR, Mel?
Oh, yeah, there are announcements for TSR. I'm so sorry. Talking about fundraisers.
Yes. We do
TSR
have...
Network on March 8th is taking over the Lair de Sade in North Hollywood. We're having a play party, and we're going to be doing an auction. I mean, not an auction. I mean, a raffle.
Nice.
So people are starting to donate. We're getting like the BDSM town called Liberty Manor has donated 3 days.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Oh, my God.
Some of our rope players are donating rope stuff. We're having people donate great floggers. So it is March 8th at 6 p.m. in the evening until midnight. It is the first play party for TSR Network to raise funds to keep TSR Network going free.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. That's his clock.
Oh, my goodness.
That is my clock. I'm
Totally
sorry.
Fine. That's all right. We like it. Well, I will have a great guest for you next week. I don't know who yet, but it's going to be fabulous. I've been in contact with lots of people. I do have half of March booked, and I can't wait to see we get to talk about next week.
Absolutely, absolutely. This has been great. Thank you so much for having me on. I've had such a
Oh,
wonderful time.
you're so welcome, Mark. It was our pleasure. I really enjoyed getting a chance to know you, and I really love what your organization is doing. That is
Thank you so
absolutely
much.
great. I am so glad to see people giving back to this great community.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, good night, everybody, and I hope you'll tune in next week, and we're going to have another great show.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye.